Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people. We are the CINEMAGGOTS.
It wasn't my idea.
It was my idea. And you're the most beautiful maggot in the pantry.
I think of the two of us, I'm perhaps the less maggoty maggot
Thank you.
of the two.
So yes, we're not doing Film Fridays anymore, but yes, we're doing CINEMAGGOTS, but we wanted to talk about some new films. But today, just to kind of get back into the format and everything, like this new idea and everything, because Keris is here on camera.
Here.
We're going to be talking together like a couple.
I'm not used to doing this,
No.
so I might be a bit
I'm not used to talking to her
rusty.
either. I don't
No,
do
we
that. I don't do that.
don't really even like you that much. Really.
And so yeah, so we thought we'll start it off a bit easy, a bit relaxed, a bit chilled out, and we're going to talk about a film that you hadn't seen.
Well, sort of. I've seen. You get those movies where you see the same bit a lot of times.
Yeah.
And it was one of those films where I saw the first 5 minutes a lot and then fell asleep or
So it's a good movie, obviously.
else.
It's a good movie, obviously.
Yeah, so I haven't seen it all the way through
Yeah.
until.
But since we do love our Disney, we do love our Pixar, and we do love the original movie. Well, I don't love it. I think it's really good.
do.
But
I
you
do.
you love it.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. But yeah, we thought we'd talk about Monsters University. It was on BBC One the other day.
Yeah, so
not
no ads.
sponsored. We're not promoting BBC One. That was just the channel it was on.
Yeah.
And we thought, hey, let's just talk about this because it's easy. It's something that everyone should know by this point.
Yeah.
And we've got some interesting opinions on it, I think. So
Yeah.
what did you?
And we haven't previously discussed with each other
No, this is entirely reactionary. This
what we
is
think about it because we thought it would actually be better.
yeah.
Especially when we go to a cinema to see a new film, to see the film, not even talk about it on the way home in the car.
No.
Just hold it all in, get home and spew it
Yeah.
to you.
Make it more natural
So-
and all that jazz. So
we haven't talked about it.
yeah, I mean, there's enough scripted stuff. Caddicarus is scripted, Caddy episodes are scripted. So let's just do something a little bit more fun, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more. You come into our house and you sit down with us.
There's space. There's space to sit.
Yeah. So yeah, we thought we would do it this way. Anyway, let's get on with the proceedings. Did you enjoy Monsters University?
I did. I've got to say, I did miss a few bits this time as well. But I got the general gist, and yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did like it.
I enjoyed it
I
too.
did like it.
I liked it, but I didn't love it.
I didn't love it either.
I just liked it.
I wouldn't mind if I didn't see it again.
Yeah.
But if it came on the TV again and like the kids are watching it, I'd probably sit and watch.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I wouldn't choose it off the shelf, maybe to.
No, that's why I actually don't own it. I don't own it.
Don't we?
No,
Oh, I thought
I
we did.
never saw the need to own this
Oh,
film because
okay.
I don't think it adds anything to like the Monsters Inc. mythos or anything. I think it's a very banking on people that love the original movie, and that's all it really has
Yeah.
going for it. I mean, there is some original stuff in there. There's loads of original
There
jokes.
is the odd reference.
There's
to
there's a lot of references and lots of details hidden in. I especially love at the ending when Mike's looking in his locker at Monsters Inc. and you see all of the different details, like all of his letters to Celia and his reminders to get his paperwork
and all his
filed.
promotions, and then you see how he ends up where he begins in
Yeah.
the first.
And it's all and they're all hidden in the corners of the frames and stuff. So those details are really nice, and obviously you see recurring characters and everything.
Yeah.
Then there's lots of that, but then there's also lots of original characters with loads of original jokes, which I actually found were very funny. I think all of the is it Uzma Kappa? Is that what they're called? That's their fraternity.
Sounds like a disease.
Sorority, fraternity. How does
We don't-
American
we don't
schools
have
work?
What you guys in America have with the way universities /
No.
colleges work, it's really different. So
No, in fact, Monsters University made university look really fun in America. It made it
Yeah.
look brutal, but it made it look fun.
yeah.
It made it
maybe
look
it
very
is.
fun.
Maybe it is. I
And
don't know.
and it actually and I don't know if it's because of the technology increases or anything, but it's a very it's much more colourful than Monsters Inc. As a film. It's very colourful. There is so much more going on.
Yeah.
And it does make it look a bit like it's not even part of the same universe sometimes, but at the same time it is very, very gorgeous. For a story going back to what the characters you know and love were like before you know what they were like in Monsters Inc. That doesn't make any sense. But
No, I know what you mean.
for a film doing that, I think it was written really well, and the script is really good, and there's so many interesting scenarios which I never saw coming. I didn't think that they would end up in the real world completely not on accident, but because they were trying to prove something, and I didn't think that they would be at each other's throats.
Little Mike.
Little Mike's very cute.
Oh, I did like Little Mike.
This is a weird kind of video to make. I've never done a discussion kind of thing before. It's weird to not have a point structure. There's so many awesome, tiny original jokes. When Mike's going around and looking at all the different clubs he can join, I love the improv comedy joke when the guy forgets what to say to him to try and get him signed up.
Oh yeah.
I like that.
Yes.
The slug, obviously, that's late. That's very funny.
Yes.
I like, is it
I was
Squishy?
kind of
Squishy's mum is hilarious. Can't remember.
Sherry, yes.
Is it something
Yeah.
like that? Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, they were very funny. No, there were so many unique opportunities for jokes that then, with it being a prequel story and with it being already part of a universe that everyone knows, the main problems for me were there's quite a lot of holes.
There's some inconsistencies.
There's a lot of inconsistencies, and that's why I think it's kind of cash grabby, because it's very clearly meant to just bank on what people like.
The stuff that you said didn't match up with the first.
No, well,
The thing is,
the immediate thing is that in the original movie, Mike says to Sully in the beginning, 5-10 minutes, he says, "You were jealous of my looks since the fourth." It's second, third, or fourth, but he says, "You were jealous of my looks since the fourth grade."
It's like primary school, basically.
Which is basically primary school. So
Yeah.
then when they then say, "Oh, so who are you? Who are you? Nice to meet you," and then they all end up hating each other.
You'd have thought they would. If we
That's an
If
oversight.
we could all see that.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't. But
If an
most
audience
people
if
could
an audience
see
member
that,
could see that and the creators couldn't,
maybe they were just hoping. You know,
But
sort
then-
of hoping the audience are stupid in
But
a
then,
way.
but then at the same,
I
but
don't
then
know.
at the same time, in Monsters Inc., they're really shocked when they find out that Roz, the kind of, I don't know what
Slug.
yeah, the
Well,
slug that does all the
yeah.
paperwork. They get really surprised when it turns out that she's the head of the CDA, the Child Detection Agency. Is that what it is? The CDA, I think.
You're asking the person that falls asleep for
Yeah.
everything. I don't know. I can't remember.
No. Yeah, well, anyway, the
Something like that.
anti-children brigade.
Yes.
So yes, so in Monsters Inc. they're very shocked about it. But then she's in Monsters University, and there is no way you can argue that they never saw her. But she's right behind them as they're getting arrested.
Same voice,
she would
same
have
shape.
she would have had to have spoken to them.
Yeah.
So that makes no sense. And then obviously they don't recognize the Yeti when they get banished into the
Yeah.
Alps or wherever they get banished off to.
Yeah.
But then it turns out he worked in the mailroom with them, but they don't know who he is. Or
But then again, how many years was it between starting in the mailroom and ending up where they ended up? Because if you think about it, like when you first started your first job,
yeah.
in say 10 years, would you recognise the first person you met on your first day again?
No,
Unless they'd become a good friend.
but it seems
You
as though he was,
wouldn't
but he was wearing a tie, so I was assuming he was the boss and he was telling them what to do. But no, as far as a high school / university movie is concerned with monsters in it, I think it does a lot. It hits a lot of bullseyes. I don't know anything about American schools or how the education system works,
No.
but with the jokes and the way it's presented and the way it's like structured with like how the terms work and the lessons work and the exams and the clubs and everything, I was able to be easily like absorbed into the world and then figure out what things meant.
Yeah.
And laugh along with some of the stuff that may not have made sense if I didn't know a thing about it. But it did a good job like presenting what it was like, what it might be like in an
Yeah.
American kind of university. It takes liberties from 80s teen movie things like Karate Kid and like Breakfast Club, I guess. Well, it's got monsters in it that have to learn how to scare or do other things. See, that was something I didn't realise, that I didn't realise that they had to study scaring as its own thing. Because why would scaring be a different thing? It
Well,
should
what? Because whether this is something I just missed or it didn't say, I'm not sure. But what were the other courses?
I don't know, but then
'Cause obviously
but if you think about real life, it makes sense, because in Monsters Inc. they walk down the street and there's like the grocer and there's the cleaners.
Yeah,
And
true.
everything, so-
like one of the points of the film is that not every monster is naturally
Yeah,
scary,
no.
which is why there was a big problem with Mike.
Yeah.
And
well, see, that's something
the
I
rest
liked
of
as
the
well. The
group.
fact that they kind of because in Monsters Inc. Sully's incredibly humble and modest, but then they actually explain why that is, and they try to make him out as the stereotypical cocky asshole.
Yeah.
Which is why him and Mike end up falling out and getting kicked off the scare program, because they keep falling out with each other and breaking things around them and stuff. But it actually turns out that there's a solid reason for it, and it's the pressure of families and everything, which would be a realistic thing for a school to do.
Oh,
It wouldn't make much sense in Monsters Inc. because they'd be adults, but it does make sense there. Oh, that was something else. That was going back to what we were talking about earlier, the details. In Mike's locker, he was using his deodorant that he had in Monsters Inc.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, which was quite cute. But yeah, no, there's
You pick up on everything.
No,
Yeah, I skip. Well, no, I don't skip, but I miss. I think sometimes we view movies in a different way. Like you watch things ready to pull it apart.
I can't help do that.
No, I know, because that's in the nature of what you do.
Yeah.
But I kind of, I mean, if I
You're passive. You're more passive. Yeah.
It's quite likely I will fall asleep. I
Yeah.
mean, I fall asleep in the cinema.
Which is why it's great to get this
A lot of
perspective in
times.
these videos, absolutely. But I did find it funny as well how there was jokes explaining, like, because when Randall's first introduced and you think he's going to be evil and horrible like he is in Monsters Inc., but it turns out he's not.
And he only has the evil eyes
Because
he
he's
takes his glasses
off.
off and he can't see and he's
Yeah,
all
which is
squinty.
very funny. I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
Why he ends up on the jock team, though, I can't figure out. I mean, it explains why he ends up the way he does, but actually, no, it doesn't, because he was given a chance to be somebody, but then he screwed up. So why would he hold that against Mike and Sully in Monsters
I
Inc?
don't know.
This is where it kind of starts falling apart a little bit.
On its own.
Yeah. Oh,
say,
it's
say
good.
that
Yeah.
Monsters Inc. didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think you could still enjoy it in its own right.
No, I think it's a good like it's got surprises in it. It takes established formula and does its own unique thing with it.
Yeah.
I do wish some of the monsters were a little bit more creative. It does seem as though with the technology increase and everything looking better, Pixar kind of ran out of ideas with how many monsters they could include on screen. It's like, what should we do with this monster? Give it more hair, give it more heads, or give it more eyes. That's pretty much every monster, which is a bit of a disappointing thing.
Yeah.
And I loved how, like, in the final parts of the special games, because there's like there's like a kind of competition going on to find out who's the best, scariest monsters and everything. And Mike and Sully get kicked off of this scaring lesson program, but then go enter the competition to try and get back into it.
Yeah.
But at the ending, there's like the scare off, isn't there? And clearly, the scarier monsters don't necessarily do very well, but then some of the other monsters kind of rise up for no reason whatsoever, because they just need to make it so. And then that brings me on to the villain. The villain of the piece. Who says to Sully when he's talking to her about how he doesn't want to have any hard feelings because she kicked them off of the scaring program. But then she says, well, one of you clearly isn't scary. It's like, well, the squishy, it wasn't scary. The salesman guy wasn't scary.
No.
Art definitely wasn't scary. Art's high in the movie as well. I like that. He sniffs a lot and talks about how he doesn't want to go back to prison.
Like, arm legs.
Yes.
Or whatever they are.
He's a great character,
He's
but
good.
no, and it's like, oh, so Mike's apparently not the scary one, even though he's got
What was
one
her
huge
name?
eye.
The
Dean Hardcrabble.
Hardcrabble.
Something like that. I don't know. Now she was a complete waste of a character.
I mean,
well, she's the dean,
the
so
dean.
yeah.
I think that was a good idea. I mean, it is a university.
Yeah.
You probably should have one, but
She is unnecessarily evil.
like with Monsters Inc., there was a twist with Roz, wasn't there?
There's a twist with Roz. There's a twist with Waternoose, who you think is like the nice, bumbling kind of head of the corporation.
I mean, I suppose they thought, well, I mean, I don't know, but another twist like that would be, you'd expect it.
Absolutely, but we're in a different environment with different things, and someone that blatantly unnecessarily evil, I don't think would be. I'm not saying there are no evil teachers out there, but she's a new level of kind
There
of.
was no need for it.
No.
Like, she shouldn't have had that job.
No.
She should have been, I don't know, a job where people are assholes. I know it's a job, but not that. And it was just, If she came out and did something good at the end.
She doesn't even do that.
been
She just. The second she arrives, there's no surprise, no. She's just evil and nasty from the second she enters the film, and just does mean-spirited things throughout the film for no reason. And then comes up at the end and says, "Oh yes, well you've surprised me, but I'm not gonna do anything to do anything. I'm just gonna say that you surprised me and smile at you and fly away again." We don't learn anything from her. There's no lesson to be taught from. It's not like she overestimates.
You're struggling to find the moral.
Well, it's not. I don't even.
There isn't one. It's like, I'm a knob.
But then why make her a main character then? Because there's already knobs in it. There's the head of the Raw Omega Raw club, that guy.
Raw Omega Raw.
Yeah. No, the jock. So there was that head of the guy with the club with the horns. Yeah. Yes. So there was that guy. Yeah. But he was already a knob. So, but with Waternoose, it's like a true motivation is revealed, and it's like, well, he was like that from the beginning, but you just couldn't see it. But with her, it's just she's a bitch from the second she arrives, and it's like I would appreciate that she was a bitch to Mike and Sully because they broke her first scare canister and kicked off the events of her kicking them out of the group and everything. And I'd appreciate it, I guess, if she had like a grudge against them, but she doesn't. She hates everybody. She doesn't like anybody, and so we don't learn. The characters don't learn anything from her. Mike and Sully's relationship doesn't get improved by her. But no, overall though, I did enjoy it. Mm-hmm. I think it did a lot of original things. Like I said, it is a funny film.
Well,
I think it's actually funnier than Monsters Inc. in terms of the amount of jokes it goes for and what it.
Funnier, yes, but Monsters Inc. When did that come out? 'Cause I'm trying to think how old I was.
2000 and in early year.
2000 and in the beginning.
In the beginning of the 2000s, yeah.
Right, so I would have been about 17 or 18 when that came out. And even at the grand old age of 17 or 18, I bawled my eyes out. So you feel very emotionally invested in it.
Yeah.
And you feel.
But there's no emotional investment with it. But then that's the problem with it being within Monsters Universe. But the problem with that, the problem with that though is that it is a prequel, so you know where it's going to go, you know what's going to happen. But it is cool to see a new light shone on how they were when they were younger and why they end up becoming the characters that they are later on.
And I remember
because I like the bit when they're stuck in the real world. Sully has his kind of the first breakdown that he has. Mike also has a kind of breakdown, but then they have to move past it in order to get out of the real world. That whole scene is really well done, actually. From the moment that Mike wants to try and prove how scary he is. Because everyone pressures him to do it. Well, that's the thing. It's not even that he's pressured to do it. I think he just feels pressured by everybody to do it.
When he went
but then Sully is specifically pressured by his status as a Sullivan and his.
Well, Mike went on the school trip, and that's when he decided that that's what he wanted to do because he collected all the cards of the scarers.
Yeah.
So he was already like. He had
into
that
it.
built in his head that that's what he wanted to do as his career since he was little. So I don't think it was a case of proving himself. I think it was literally his life's ambition.
Yeah, he wanted to know for himself
That's
if he
what
was.
He wanted to do.
Yeah, but he finds out. But it's cool how he finds out the truth, more of a truth about himself in a completely different way to how Sully finds out a truth about himself. Because Sully finds out about himself and thinks about himself from how other people perceive him. But then with Mike, it's about how he perceives himself. And how other people react to him negatively while everyone reacts positively to Sully. Which they then completely mess up because the Dean at that point, when they're stuck in the real world at the end, she says that she wants to turn the power off and waits for the authorities to get there so that no one can come in and out because it's too dangerous. Yeah. But then as soon as she says that, in the real world, then Mike and Sully go, yes, but we need to get all the police in here and scare them so we can create enough power to get back through the door to the real world. Even though they had no idea. But no, I think it's worth it just for the sake of seeing a new light to the characters that everyone knows.
Yeah.
And seeing a few original jokes that mix up monsters and teen movie, high school kind of antics together. I liked how the librarian was a giant octopus monster.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, there's so many to count. There's so many funny bits. It is a very tightly written, funny film and really well scripted and really genuine. But it is just very inconsistent. Doesn't really link to Monsters Inc. in a very good way apart from establishing the characters because it's not like they mention anything about school in Monsters Inc. or anything.
Why would you?
Well, why would you, exactly. As it stands on its own, I think it's a good film, but in the grand scheme of things, it's messy.
Yeah, I mean, whether you think that if you hadn't seen Monsters Inc., I don't know. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, like I said, it was on TV. We didn't put a movie in. It was on telly. And we didn't channel hop.
No.
We stayed on it. We watched the whole thing.
We did, yeah. What would you give it out of 10?
Oh gosh, Joe, this is the first time I've rated anything on your channel, so
Wow.
I'm not really sure.
You've got to think about it.
How you go about doing this?
I would give it a 6. Let's cut it off. It doesn't bring enough to the table for it to be considered any kind of classic. It doesn't do, in my opinion.
It's not a classic.
It doesn't do, in my opinion, what Finding Dory does. Even though Finding Dory was obviously after that, so they
we
probably
loved
had a
Finding Dory, didn't we? That was
yeah.
great.
But I don't think it does.
Okay.
It does the same kind of thing because
Alright.
it doesn't seem too concerned with linking itself with the original source material. It does come off as slightly blatant with, hey, look, we're just coming out with cute designs because we want to sell toys, and hey, you remember this character?
all
and,
those characters are ready-made
yeah.
toys to go in toy shops.
When it
weren't they?
when
They were ready
basically when
to
it
go.
when it diverges away from Monsters Inc. and just focuses on Sully, Mike, and the school situation, it's really solid. But then when
Yeah.
it starts bringing all the additional elements into it, and it wants to bring a pointless villain in for no reason,
Yeah.
because it just needs a villain, because you need a
Because why
villain.
not?
It's a kids movie.
See, I
You need a
thought
villain.
what's his name? Guy.
Yeah, well, he's
I thought
built up to be a villain, isn't he? But he never
would've-
is.
Well, I think he would have been enough. Anyway, a rating at 10.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go 7 because
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed it maybe more than you did.
Mhm.
But then like I've said, I'm not very good at finding the holes in things, so it might be more a case of things went more into my head.
I don't know.
Who knows? But yeah, I'd be a bit more generous and give it 7.
Okay, cool.
Out of 10.
Well, in that
7 maggots out of 10 maggots.
7 maggots out of 10 maggots. Yeah, 6 maggots out of
Maybe it should be maggots out of a
a carcass.
fly nest.
Yeah.
Because that's what maggots are, isn't it?
Lovely.
Aren't they flies?
Lovely. Anyway, let us know what you think about this style of video. This was something different, something new.
Experimental.
If it's your birthday today watching this video, happy friggin' birthday to you. Please remember to stay beautiful. And
Yeah, I need a line.
what's your line?
Well, I don't know. See, that's what you say.
Yeah.
What do I say?
Bye. Okay. Well, what do you do then?
I don't know. See you later.
There you go. See you later.
Laters.
Great.